Meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Ray Salabreos. I'm Senior Vice President for Division of Small Business Capital Access, and I'm the designee for the New York State the New York Empowerment Zone for Hope Knight. She's the President and CEO of Empire State Development. So I'd like to now call the meeting of the Directors of the New York Empowerment Zone Corporation for today. It's Tuesday, July 25th. I'd like to make a note. I also like to note that for the record that the public has been given the opportunity to comment on the agenda items submitted by the written comments on before 5 p.m. yesterday. To date, no comments have been received. The directors have received the relevant written materials in advance of today's meeting and are free to ask questions anytime. I would like to ask the directors whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with respect to any of the agenda items. If so, I will ask you to please make an appropriate disclosure on the record at this time. We will then make sure that you may recuse yourself from any discussion or vote regarding such item. Okay, we'll move forward. Hearing none, we'll make a note for the record. I would also like to take a quick moment to welcome Anad Amen, the designee for the City of New York, and Bobby Wolf, President of the OEDC, and Romina Inena from the Congressman's office. Congressman Torres' office. The first item for consideration will be the Bronxville Economic Development Corporation. Michael Nixon, please present the Business Initiative Corporation of New York Initiative.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to present the initiative for Business Initiative Corporation of New York, or BIC-NY, to be the recipient of a $10 million loan done in two $5 million tranches to become a community advantage lender. This is something that we all believe will be very beneficial to the empowerment zone and the businesses. The funds that are available range from $5,000 to $350,000, largely, though not necessarily exclusively, for working capital. And it would be for the zip codes that include the empowerment zone and other adjacent zip codes. The request has been approved by the Small Business Administration that oversees the approval for community advantage lenders. It's also been approved by the BICNY board and has also been approved by the Bronx Economic Development Board to go forward and present before the Empowerment Zone Board for the request. So the funds are to assist businesses in the Empowerment Zone, provide what we believe is very much needed capital, but complementary to Empowerment Zone funds, not as a substitute for funds. They're more complementary. The size of the funds are different. It's more oriented towards working capital. BICNY has done extensive data mining and data mapping and has identified over 200 businesses within the Empowerment Zone that were PPP recipients that also whose loans were forgiven and who have no liens against them. So this is the primary target that that the community advantage loans would be targeted at. We're also looking at businesses that perhaps have high interest rates and would want to perhaps refinance their existing debt, and also businesses that may never have used outside debt in the past, may have been funded through their owners or from the sales from operations as an opportunity to gain capital. Currently, there is very, very little funding in New York State on terms of community advantage, and even less here in the Bronx. So this would be a great opportunity to provide access to capital through the community advantage for businesses. The loans that are $150,000 or less are guaranteed by the SBA up to 85% of the value of those loans, and from $150,000 to $350,000, those loans are guaranteed up to 75%. So it mitigates the risk for BICNY and, by extension, Bronx Economic Development Corporation and the Empowerment Zone funds. So I will stand back and just ask that if you have any questions, and I'll answer them.
The only question I have, this is great. This is an amazing initiative. It's worth time to get this done. It's a question about the contiguous nature or adjacent nature to the zip code. So do they have to be contiguous zip codes, or it could be adjacent, and how far from the Empowerment Zone will we be able to make loans?
Yeah, I have a map here, which is of the Empowerment Zone, and I can pass it down and let others look at it as well. This is the Empowerment Zone. The dark area, the highlighted zip codes are the adjacent zip codes, and they're all adjacent to the Empowerment Zone.
It's Raphael Roger. I'm the Executive Director of Business Initiative Corporation in New York. And we basically want to not just cut it off right at the Empowerment Zone line. A lot of those businesses are actually supporting the people within the Empowerment Zone, right, and are doing work within the Empowerment Zone. So if we can be of any assistance to them, we just don't want to leave them high and dry, especially if they're doing work within the designated area. And
also residents of the Empowerment Zone who may work in these other zip codes where these businesses are located. But there's no question that the focus is the Empowerment Zone.
But there is flexibility based on the guidelines, correct?
Yes.
Any questions from the director?
There's a goal of 504 loans. Initiative benchmarks.
So 504 is another program.
Okay.
I was thrown off a little bit.
It's also an SBA program that BICNY does.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that lends throughout the whole state.
Right.
So we're using our underwriting initiatives that we do for those programs, that program, to do this one as well.
And that's what
very precise figure.
Right. And that's what BICNY, by the way, has chosen to be a community advantage lender, because it already has a very strong track record as an SBA 504 lender, and it seemed like a natural, different programs, but a natural fit for BICNY to be a community advantage lender.
Do you have an anticipated range of how many businesses you feel the money would be able to help? Or is that difficult to tell just because, some loans may be higher than others?
It's hard to, given the range that we're talking about, and this is a range that a lot of banks are not touching. Members of the board know this. And those are exactly the targets that we want. The Deputy Borough President and I were having a conversation this morning about a new Center for Urban Future report that talks about the Bronx and the growth of small businesses outpacing many of the other boroughs, not all the other boroughs. At least 61% increase. But we still, as we've seen in the past, have been lagging behind, whether it's been loans or grants. And Michael talked about the data mining, and we are mapping small businesses, particularly in the empowerment zone, but also the adjacent areas. There'll be information out as we would get out there quickly, get this information in. But it's hard to gauge in terms of the numbers at this point.
Does the business have to have a certain amount of employees?
I don't believe there's any minimum employee size.
Wow.
And this is, again, under the SBA program. Right. Yeah.
And as an SBA program, it's supposed to be a job generator. So that's the whole idea behind it, is that they're going to be creating these jobs, or at least maintaining so they don't lose them.
Right. There was an article, I think, in 2021 or something about how during COVID, even though we saw a lot of small businesses decline, we did see a lot of mom and pop shops, like from people's apartments, like, hairstyling businesses, catering businesses. So, and that's, one or two people. So those businesses would be eligible for this type of loan?
I believe so, absolutely. And it should be noted that the Community Advantage is, if you will, a subset of what is known as the 7A loan program under the SBA. And it's specifically targeted nationwide that on communities that have been underserved in terms of receiving loans. A minimum of 60% need to be in AMI area. Businesses need to be located in AMI, just as a result of the program. And of course, we're focused on the empowerment zone. So it's really targeted to the small mom and pops and smaller businesses.
Is there set terms in terms of the land?
It would largely be defined upon what the loan is going to be used for. So it would match basically the depreciable life of the whatever is going to be used for the loans. So it can go from 5 years up to 20 years. There's a range. There's no set term. It would be determined basically on the depreciable life of the asset.
Yeah,
or whatever.
And that's part of the underwriting.
Yes.
And if it's refied, if it's being used to refinance, it would be within sort of.
Yes.
So, interesting, on the refinancing portion, I know that the Treasury has certain guidelines on what is eligible for refinancing, right? A certain percentage. What's the SBA doing when it comes to refinance? Can you just refinance anyone? Or
It's the same concept.
okay.
Where we have to, it has to be known what it's for certain usage. For the most part, working capital, if it's a loan that is considered a high interest loan,
right,
that falls in it. Like there are certain things that you can't do with it, but for the most part, what we're trying to do falls exactly into what's in the Treasury's idea of what this is and what the SBA wants this to be. It's almost like the two programs kind of connect. So it falls under what we need as far as what we need to submit to the SBA to say this qualifies, this doesn't qualify.
Right. That was a question. The SBA, how much guidance, how much input does the SBA have as far as processing the loan application? Do you just approve them on your own? Or do they go down? The 7 A's require the SBA to sign off on them.
It's the same issue. We have the ability to approve them, but we have to hit certain guidelines on the SBA. And we need to just make sure that we hit them. Everything gets sent to the SBA. Right. We'll probably do it once a month just to save everybody on cost of doing business. Right. And then they'll review and give us our cut our checks, the same way a 504 gets done.
Right. So now that we have a friend in the SBA, I imagine that they'll cut down the process, the time it takes to get a community advantage loan done, right?
We are hoping.
Right, hoping.
We're
Well, it takes a while to get these things done.
We're hoping.
We are hoping.
Oh, good.
Hope is a good word around this
Yes.
place.
It's our guiding light, you know?
That's true, that's true. Any other comments from the public? All right, hearing none, then I will entertain a motion for approval. So moved. We're good. All right, congratulations, folks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, and to the congressman and to the mayor's office,
Yes.
really appreciate it in moving this forward, and I look forward to working with you in identifying the businesses in the Bronx that could use this help. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
So our next item is the approval of the administrative budget for fiscal year 2024.
Do you have copies of that budget? No.
Okay, I was looking for it, and I think I have it here. Yes, we have it in your loan package.
It's in the packet.
Right, it's in the loan package, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a copy. No, I just
Okay,
want to make sure you guys have a
sure.
copy. You need a copy.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you know
You
what?
need a copy?
Yeah. That's it.
I think I have it in here.
Okay.
Are you ready?
We're ready when you are.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Duncan Still. I'm the Chief Financial Officer of the Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation. I'm here to present the annual operating administrative budget for the financial year ending June 30th, 2024. The budget calls for a total spend of $963,812. This is 8.22% higher than the budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. Personnel costs are $693,576 as compared with $629,549 for the previous year's budget. This is largely a result of a cost of living increase of 7.8%. The audit fee remains flat at $37,775. Professional and consultant remains flat at $109,000. Legal fees remain flat at $35,000. We expect the vast majority of this amount may not be used this year, as we do not expect any litigation. Other operating costs have increased from $79,240 to $88,460. This is due to new equipment purchases and an increase in property taxes. Are there any questions?
It's pretty much in line with previous years. There's no, I've come through the budget, there's no major variances in comparison to other years, and we don't anticipate any, as Duncan mentioned, any regulations forward. So it's pretty straightforward.
Any questions from the members? Any questions? All right, hearing no questions, then a motion? Approved. Congratulations, you guys are good to go. We're rocking and rolling the Bronx.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you.
If there are no further items to present to the board, I call for motion to adjourn the meeting. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Really
much.
appreciate all your help.
Thanks,
You've been wonderful.
So guys,